Hello, Nigerians, wherever you are watching us, I welcome you to another edition of Journalists Explain This on NSTV Lagos. I'm your host, Lekon Disway, your friend in the School of Wisdom. In life, the scripture says there is a time for everything and a purpose for every event on earth. That's why today, by the grace of God, we have opportunity to chat on this station with a veteran journalist, somebody who had over 30 years of practice in his choosing career, having worked in many notable media organizations. He was a former zonal secretary, Nigerian Union of Journalists, a person I used to call that a journalist that's even popular and notable than the whole council. He is a member of Nigerian Guild of Editors, a member of International Press Institute, and mentor of Guilds of Corporate Online Publishers, a founder of the globally read PENPUSHING media. He has won many awards in his choosing career. These awards include Best Journalist of the Year, the United Nations recognized award, among many awards. Please, can you please join me to welcome our guest today, Prince Dimeji Kayode-Adedeji. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning, our viewers across the world.
I used to call him CEO. I know I've not committed any crime, but I call him CEO, Chief Executive Officer. So it's just, let's set the ball rolling, because I'm sure people, the viewers, they are waiting to hear your voice. Let's just set the ball rolling by looking at the celebration of today, May 29. I'm sure Nigerians believe that this is a democracy day. In your own assessment, how will you assess the government for this celebration?
Thank you very much. Let's start from the word or the statement, Democracy Day. There's a conflicting about that day, and I will explain why I said this.
Okay.
Many people believe May 29 is the Democracy Day. Some other people believe that it is June 12th that is the Democracy Day. The reason being that at a point in time, the immediate past president declared that June 12th as a Democracy Day, though it's something that people have been looking forward to. So after that pronouncement, from my own interpretation, June 12th will have been more better described as a Democracy Day, having been pronounced by the federal government then. And if you look at what led to that, the 1993
end of 1993
election, the presidential election then, which was won by late Moshood Abiola.
Okay.
And for a very long time, they have been dragging over whether to recognize him, even the day in question. But as things works out, the immediate past president, Muhammad Buhari, decided to honor the late Abiola and at the same time pronounce June 12th as Democracy Day. So, to me, I think that would have been the more appropriate day to say Democracy Day. That's why I said there's a conflicting about it. But I want to believe that majority of Nigerians, even outside, will prefer to regard to June 12th as Democracy Day.
Is that why some students they didn't go to school today? If you move around now, you see it appears there is a holiday, there is celebration, because people have them. We don't know whether it is from the government circle, the attitude, whatever, or laissez-faire attitude, not to have said or mentioned anything that today is not work-free day. There is work that is school for our students to know that today is not Democracy Day. Like you said, June 12 preferable as Democracy Day.
The point that is happening because May 29 was the day the new government assumed office.
Okay.
And as part of 1 year anniversary celebration, I think that's what informed that day being technically, so to say, declared as a public holiday. That is my view about it. It's not about whether it's a Democracy Day or not, but for the fact that it is precisely a year that the government came into power. That was the reason why the date.
Yes, see on that May 29, Nigerians are saying nothing to celebrate on May 29. What is the Nigerians are suffering? What's your judgment?
That is that's a bitter truth. Nothing to celebrate as
bitter truth.
Yeah, that's a bitter truth. Nothing to celebrate as people equally posited. Because if you look at this country today, one will not say you are totally happy about the happiness there. Particularly on number of issues. Talk about security, talk about welfare, even feeding. So it is when you have food in your stomach, you will have strength to say you want to celebrate. But everything is prices are going higher almost every day. The economy is not favorable to the citizens. And tell me any of the sectors that is not affected. So as a result of that, it will have been easier for people to come out in large number and say we want to celebrate. I recall when we are growing up, a day like this, we see it will be colorful. You see people. Nobody needs to tell you that something is happening in this country. Then that was then. But unfortunately, where we find ourselves now, I pray that God will come to our aid. The summary is that it is when you are happy, you want to express that happiness to the world to see that you are happy. But when one is not happy, you rather prefer to stay indoor and continue to lick your wound privately. So you cannot see any form of it. And at the same time, government itself is trying to be very diplomatic about the whole situation, because the government itself knows that people are not comfortable. So what drums and want to roll out. So they are being careful about that, and that is just that.
Now let's now come into the area of Ogun State now. And especially as a social commentator, do you look at the area of security now, especially the youth involvement in crime cases, especially courtesan? Are you, as a social commentator, are you not concerned, or what's your fear?
Definitely, as a parent, aside from being a social commentator, as a parent, one should be bothered, because the youth are the future of tomorrow. So if they are not well taken care of, or they themselves, they don't think positively, we may end having a number of problems that will catapult into a very big crisis and will not be favorable to either the governed or the government that is responsible. When you look at if I can assess it back home, like you said, in Ogun State, I can say that relatively, you compare with years back, there has been a drastic low turnout in quotes, about the activities of cultists. But that does not say that it's not still in operation. But the government itself will not fold its arms and see that those guys continue to misbehave. So, and it is necessary for government to come out in full force to checkmate all these atrocities.
Because I remember that the IGP just came to Ogun State and the vans were donated, because were donated by the SSNSC, and to curb what you said now.
Yes.
So there can't be any effect on that.
No. Like I said, when we do a comparison, you can see that we are together in this state, and I believe you know exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sometimes ago in this state, they almost take over the control of the state. You understand what I'm saying? But presently, I'm not saying there's no society with one bad eggs. It's always like that.
So no society is free of crime.
No. But what we can do is just to reduce that activities, which I believe the present government is trying to do, and should not relent in efforts in getting that problem solved.
So when people are shifting blame to government, in your own judgment, is there no other person? Don't you feel that parents too should be concerned and should be even
definitely. The point is this: they said charity begins at home. And whatever we are doing, we should start from home in trying to guide our children. What do you say to a parent who decided to go to school because his or her child was scolded by the teacher, and you are so audacious to go back to that school to start bullying the teachers? Not only that, at times you exchange teachers in a fist off. What image is that parent painting to the public? What impression is that parent giving to his own children? Violence, preaching violence. So it has to start from home, like I said. Though there will be, when those children leave home to join their colleagues, there will always be what we call peers influence. But the point is that the such child will always try as much as possible to retrace his or her steps, if probably checkmated. So parents cannot be ruled out in bringing up the children to a normal life.
Is there any implication on social economy of the state of the people if this thing is not taken by the
No. The point is that nobody needs to tell us that it is so glaring. It's like this proverb that somebody who's eating you are eating cockroach. Your neighbor is eating cockroach. You didn't bother to tell that your neighbor that this is dangerous for you to take. At the end of the day, if you are living together in the same room, when that person started coughing, you yourself will not have sleep. You will not have good sound sleep.
So we share from the
definitely because nobody, if anybody is coughing where you are sleeping, no matter, as far as you are not dead, you will wake up and you become uncomfortable. So it is very clear that if that problem is not well taken care of, it will snowball to what the government may not be able to even control at the end of it, and it will spread. That is the danger there. That is more reason why the government has to move ahead of the crisis before it escalated more than necessary.
Okay, before I take on my guest today, Prince Kayode-Adedeji, then we want to, from NSTV Lagos, want to join Nigerians who are celebrating with His Excellency for the Democracy Day and of course for his birthday. So we say happy birthday, sir. Now come to the Rebel. So recently, yesterday, His Excellency was in video talking about sustaining infrastructural transformation in Ogun State. Then how do you comment on that?
That is left to the residents, and this is very important. Okay. If government provides infrastructure for residents or citizens, it is the responsibility of the citizens to see that infrastructure doesn't get wasted at the end of the day. How do I mean? A road is constructed for your community. Now, the next thing you are doing thereafter is when you cook in your house. The remnants from the house, put it on the road. Even the gutter in front of you see them packing all this waste into the gutters. So, what do you think will happen to such road? Do you think such road will last longer? Because if they have made it very clear, that would have been better. I always at the last paragraph of that statement. That is one. Then two, you don't sit down and follow your arm, think news come to you. You must go out. Go out for news. There is news every. You cannot move from one distance to another. You don't get news. Except you cannot identify it. If you move from here, we are here now. Stories on the road. So it is good to identify what is important. To identify news first. So laziness I'm referring to is that somebody send you a material, you didn't work on it. All what to do is just stay that way. That is pure laziness. I don't subscribe to that. No, I don't subscribe. I didn't sleep until 1 a.m. every day at my age. It's because of the passion for that job.
It's in the blood.
You don't understand.
And so rationale behind
yeah, I will say it briefly, but it's a long story and it's a short story.
Okay.
Now,
long and short.
When I started journalism, when I started PENPUSHING, it was an instinct. I was in my sitting room repairing my telephone. I just called one of these guys to come and repair it. It was in that process that this thing just came and said, "This guy, you have been number of taking over journalism and what do you think will be your contribution to address this problem. It was that period I took up the challenges. That was how I started the journey of PENPUSHING. I set up the platform, invited who's who in this country, the likes of Baba Shoba, the likes of number academics, name them, every nation.
Cut across.
Cut across. So I started it. So about 3 months to the commencement, he came again and said, "Guy, why don't you start organizing a workshop conference?" So I set up committee. We started. Professor Oyebida was our first guest lecturer. He came. We had the second lecture. The country director of United Nations was the guest lecturer. Third one, Professor Oyebida, the former VC of Taswe, was the guest lecturer. The fourth one was the West African director of Ford Foundation. Was the lecturer.
Who
came. So that was how we started that process. So at a point in time, this thing just told me, this guy, as you are moving, you have to move. What next? He said, go and register this organization. So it was at that stage I registered with CAC. And we started. We have a policy, and that policy is that no fake news will come out from our organization. And we have continued to.
And even in your resume, I've seen a mentor. On unconfirmed stories
from
not
my
from
organization.
Yes, from not PENPUSHING.
No, from the body. We have what we call a disciplinary committee.
Okay.
So you yourself, you'll be very careful.
Okay.
Do you understand? But when there's a committee, it's a body that is well recognized all over the world. So you cannot misbehave. If you misbehave, you know the consequence. Okay. So you'll be cautious of that. Okay. And other thing is that if you find yourself in that place, you should regard yourself that you are upright. They don't just admit just anybody.
That's interesting.
They will do a check background about that person, the quality, things like that.
We heard it from our guest today. Is the Chief Executive Officer, PENPUSHING Media, globally read newspaper. So I want to thank you for giving me. Is the Prince Dimeji Kayode-Adedeji, Executive Officer. I used to call him the journalist that is only one that is popular than our council. It's my pleasure today. God bless you. It's my pleasure, sir. So when next we invite you, I want us to dwell much richly on online publishing.
I am readily available.
Okay, thank you. God bless you. It's my pleasure.
And let me congratulate this establishment.
Okay.
But let me tell you this: Rome was never built in a day. Okay. You may start from a room. I'm just giving an example. Okay. But when you know what you are doing, commitment, passion, you will start moving ahead. I have the feeling that with the commitment I'm seeing in your team, you go places. It all started PENPUSHING. We started. You know where we started as
of course,
and you know where we had to be. So God will take you higher and higher.
Amen.
I appreciate you. Any time you have the opportunity that you need the support of PENPUSHING Media, we like getting people up. We will do it at our own convenient time. And if you look at this history of online newspaper across the globe, or let me limit to Nigeria, so that I can't if you look at it in Nigeria, PENPUSHING is the first to have editorial board.
Well, it's because of passion and in the blood.
Yeah. Okay. And we have credible members of that board, which include Mrs. Funke Faduba, the two-time chairman of Lagos Council of NUG. The chairman. We have Ediaino, who's a veteran journalist and a former director with NBC. We have Dr. Goke Raouf, who's today the rector of DS Adegbero Polytechnic. We have Yemi Fadaro, who's also a very vibrant and veteran journalist. We also have Femi Sodunke, we popularly call him Oluwo. He's resident in Canada. He's also a member of that board, as well as we have a legal advisor, Barrister Benjamin Modede, who interestingly was my secondary school teacher.
Wonderful. Thank you. So on that note, I want to say thank you for being part of today's program. Journalist Explain this on NSTV Lagos. I'm your friend, Lekon Iswe. When I come away, I shall say thank you and for being part of this program. My guest, Prince, you're highly welcome.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Ìṣáká for Christ.
ó ń sán àwa tọ́lọ́run ó lè ṣe gbogbogbò ṣíṣe ní fọ́lùwà.